My ex-wife and I met at the construction renovation project I was working on. She was an interior designer, and I am a contractor. I've owned my company for 18 years now, and did very good for myself. The firm she worked for were the designers for the renovations, and she'd come visit for field measurements, checking work every week. One day, we were outside talking about the project, and she complimented my team's work and said she told her firm that they should work with us more often for future projects. I thought, awesome. And this is not something I'd normally do on the job, as I typically keep it professional. But I found her attractive and I asked, "So are you married?" There was some awkward silence, and she was hesitant to answer, as I could tell she wanted to keep it professional as well. With a smile, she said, "No, I'm not married." I followed up with, "Can we grab lunch sometime?" And she said, "Sure. How about next week?" That's when she was coming back out to check the progress of some work on the project. We went on that date the following week. The Arby's. Yes, the most romantic restaurant in the world. It was great though, but while we were talking, laughing, and having a great time, she out of nowhere said, "Wow, I would totally marry you." She put her hand over her mouth as if to say, "I can't believe I said that crap." I just smiled and said, Good. Until the project was completed, we had lunch every week at Arby's. That was our go-to spot. Sounds like such a lovely story where a couple meets and shares a connection, goes on to marry and live happily ever after. Nah, not at all. This woman is pure evil. We married in 2013 after being exclusive for 3 years and dating, knowing each other for 1.5 years. Her firm held Christmas company parties every year and I'd attend. I remember the first one we went to. This guy, John, was very touchy-feely with her. She would shrug him off or whatnot, but every year he was like that. The second year I went, it ticked me off because I thought he was being very inappropriate and wanted to dance with her and all. He would get very drunk. She would pretend like she had no idea why he was like that and blamed it on his drinking. I later discovered who he truly was to her. We didn't stay the night after the party, and we argued all the way back to my place. I was asking her if they had something going on because he's too comfortable with her, and she'd say no, he's just like that. I asked her, "Do you like it?" She said, "Of course not." I said, "Well, go to HR." She claimed I was overreacting and told me I had nothing to worry about. Fast forward to next year's Christmas party. We were engaged. I proposed in front of her family at Thanksgiving. At her firm's Christmas party, everyone was congratulating me, and old Johnny Boy was muddying the heck out of me the whole night, not even talking to my wife this year. I'm not exaggerating, he looked like a white Ice Cube when Ice Cube does that mad face, just like it. Almost like he was trying to intimidate me. John is an assistant project manager or something like that. He pretty much does the work his higher-ups don't want to do. I tapped my wife and said, "I think your work husband is jealous." That was the joke between her and I about John, him being her work husband. She shrugged off and said, "You, no way." But I let her know how he was looking at me. She said I should stop focusing on him, that he's nuts. So, we ignored him for the rest of the night. We went on to get married in July 2013. Interesting how our reception, I wanted the DJ to play one of my favorite songs from J. Cole at the time. It's called Power Trip. But ironically, instead he had the song Forbidden Fruit programmed to play instead of the Power Trip song I requested. I only had one J. Cole song for him to play, and coincidentally, he played the song Forbidden Fruit. Forbidden Fruit is a song by J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. And if anyone is familiar with the reference, Forbidden Fruit, it is a name given to the fruit growing in the Garden of Eden, which God commanded mankind not to eat. In the biblical story, Adam and Eve ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and were exiled from Eden. I think back now and say, wow, what a sign. Didn't even catch. October of that year, we found out my wife was pregnant. I was over the moon excited and later discovered she was pregnant with boys. 2 boys, twins. I thought, wow, I hit the jackpot. Fast forward to her Christmas party 2019 at her firm. She said she wanted to go alone this year and I should stay home with the kids. Her excuse was that she was overwhelmed with everything and needed a night out for herself. I wasn't happy about this, but ended up staying home with the boys that night. She didn't come home that night like she said either. I blew up her phone until it started going straight to voicemail. She got home the next morning, and I went off on her. I just felt in my guts something was wrong. She said she drank too much and fell asleep in another female co-worker's room. She started crying and said, "I finally get some freedom and I'm accused of wrongdoings." I was so ticked. The crying didn't even work and I continued to snap at her. "You need to grow the heck up. You're an adult with a family. I don't mind you going out alone, but don't try to lie to me and avoid my calls like that ever again." She ran into the room and 5 minutes later, I heard the shower turn on. My kids were still asleep, so I went straight for her phone. I just had a gut feeling, man. The phone was locked, so I demanded her to give me the passcode, but she refused, saying I was crazy and that she's taking the children to her mom's, that I'm scaring her. I calmed down and I sat on the couch until she got out of the shower. When she came out to the living room area, I told her I was leaving. I just needed some air. I didn't want to leave the boys unattended. I grabbed my keys and I left. I drove to Bob Evans. After eating, I stayed drinking coffee and realized I had my headphones with me. I turned on Apple Music, shuffled my playlist, and guess what song came on? I kid you not. It was J. Cole's Forbidden Fruit song on the Born Sinner album. I remember thinking, this is the song the DJ played at my wedding that I had not requested. It hit me right then and there. Something in my gut told me that this woman was lying to me, and I was determined to get to the bottom of it. I Google searched how to hire a private investigator. I ended up finding a guy and contacted him via Facebook. I told him my situation, and he was certain he could help. I'll be honest, I was not optimistic about the PI. I kind of figured it was just all BS. Though I remembered my wife's co-worker's name, John, I won't say his full name, but I searched him on Facebook. Found him easily, especially knowing his middle initial from their company website. I friended him, as his page was private, and messaged him asking if he and I could talk. He accepted my friend request and said, "Who are you?" Not sure how he didn't know who I was, with my wife and I picture in the profile at the time. But I told him who I am and who my wife is, and he replied, "Dude, it's over between her and I. Whatever freaky crap y'all got going on, I don't want anything to do with it anymore. Have a great day." I replied, "Over with what? Dude, what's your number? Please, man, please." He's asking for my number. I gave it to him. Few minutes later, I got a call from an unknown number. It was him. When I found out it was him, I asked, "Dude, what do you mean it's over between you and my wife?" He said, "She told me that you knew and that you all had an open relationship where both of you had one other partner. You had some girl and she had me, but I was done 7 months ago after she gave me the chlamydia you gave her, you piece of crap." "What? I don't have any chlamydia." He said, "Well, she did, and she gave it to me. She said she had no idea, and you are the only person that could have given it to her. I knew not to sign up for you all's freaky situation. I said my wife and I were never in an open relationship." He said I should take it up with her then, that he doesn't even speak to her anymore and avoided her at work, and he immediately hung up the phone. I was sweating bullets at this time, sitting in my car. It was cold outside, by the way. I was scared I had STDs. My team was able to handle work while I was away for a week. I had to get checked for STDs, contact a lawyer, and DNA test my boys. My plan was to never say anything to her, just file for divorce, get everything in order, and hit her with it. I got back home, and she and the boys were gone. I assumed they were at her mother's like she said. Later that day, I got a call from the private investigator. I updated him on some stuff, and he wished me luck. He explained how he could get evidence for me. 1, he was to do some background investigation. 2, physical surveillance. And 3, something called honey trapping. He had to explain that one to me. When he said the last thing, honey trapping, I really thought this guy was full of it. I'm glad I didn't write him off though. He told me he was an ex-police officer. A 54-year-old man who hit the lottery for $40,000 a year after he divorced his cheating wife. He told me he used the $40,000 to go into business with his brother in 2013. They both sold that company 1 year later to a startup tech company. His brother was some type of IT guy who developed some software. I don't remember the name of the company they sold their company to, but apparently, it's a very well-known company. He didn't say he was a millionaire, but he said he never has to work again. Though he left the force and later started to get bored, so he started this private investigation service. He travels all around the US helping people if he needs to. He helps very wealthy people to your average Joe. He said he's also assisted with helping women get evidence on their cheating husbands. He does not discriminate because he despises cheaters. His ex-wife was a cheater, and 1 out of 5 of their kids they had together was not his. He said he still acted the father to that kid, and the relationship with him and all of his kids is stronger than ever. Anyway, he went to work. This man knows everyone: lawyers, doctors, people in the FBI. His brother is some IT guru. You name it. He worked with one famous person also. I learned that this guy is legit during my getting to know him process. Like I said, he went to work while I went on the hunt for a lawyer. About the time I found my lawyer, he had already found out a lot. First, I'll refer to this man as S or Shark. Shark is a lawyer. A lawyer my ex-wife was having an affair with and the father of the twin. Now when the PI told me about S and how he and my ex-wife would have lunch almost every day together, it hurt. That's how we met and what we used to do. Have lunch together often. He had photos of them at hotels. He picked up audio of them having lunch at a place called Culver's Restaurant. It was a bit loud, but he was able to point out when their conversations were picked up better with the help of his brother's expertise with messing with the audio. You could hear on the audio him saying, "So how are my boys?" Now if he would have said, "How are the boys?" then I would have thought he was asking about our kids. But when he said, "my boys," I swear, fire lit up in my stomach. I talked to my lawyer about getting my kids' DNA tested, and I wanted to know if it was legal or if I needed her consent. His exact words were, "Although mother can refuse a piece of my paternity test, the mother's permission is not needed to carry out such a test, provided her DNA is not being submitted for testing, and the potential father has parental responsibility for any child being tested." I scheduled the test to be done on a Friday of the same week. My wife was still at her mother's. I put that in quotes because I'm sure you even know that that's a darn lie. Anyway, I told her I needed to see my boys, and we arranged for me to pick them up on Friday from her mother's. When we spoke, she told me, her exact words, "I hope you come to your senses and get your crap together. I would like to come home, and the boys would like to also. So get your head out of your butt and stop treating me like crap." My reply was, "Yes, honey. Okay." Little did she know I was about to drop a nuke on her. I got me and my boys' tests completed. It didn't take long as I thought it would. Since it was late on Friday, I could have gotten the results back that day if I had done it earlier, but I received everything Monday morning. I was not their father. I cried like a baby. I know most people would probably be excited and say, "Well, I'm off the hook." No, this is something you would have to go through to understand. If she was in my face that very moment, I probably would have thrown my life away by doing something to her. I talked to my lawyer about all the evidence I had: audio, photos, hotel meetings, emails that my PI gathered, and of course, the results of the paternity test. I told my lawyer, "I want to bury this bee." My lawyer nodded. Before I left, I gave my lawyer my ex-wife's office building, my contact to my PI. My hired PI served my ex-wife the divorce papers, and it was quite the show. He recorded everything for me. I was asking him if he could record the entire showdown. My PI said it was not a problem at all. This wouldn't be the first time he's done something like this, and surely won't be the last. Folks, I will walk you through how it all went down. The guy turned on his video recording right before getting out of the car. I now know he used some sort of device that pinned to his shirt pocket. In the beginning of the video, you can hear him say, "I love this part of the job." He's parked on the street, so he gets out and feeds his meter. I asked him later on when I saw the video, "Why the heck did you put so many coins in there?" He said, "You never know how long this crap is going to take." He had to walk a bit to the building. My ex-wife's firm is downtown. He's greeting people. "Good morning, sir." "Howdy, ma'am." "Good day, sir." While walking to my ex-wife's building. The video is freaking hysterical. He finally gets inside and says to security that he's there to visit my ex-wife at HNX Interiors, completely fake firm name. She pats him down and tells him where to go. He gets to the floor where their suite is and tells the receptionist once he gets inside that he's here to see my ex-wife's name. He waits for close to 8 minutes, then someone else comes up asking him what he's there for. He again says he needs to speak with my ex-wife and that he has a package for her. This guy offered to take it, and he says, "I have to give it to her directly, sir." The guy was asking if it were materials or samples. You can just leave them. And again, my PI insisted on giving them to her directly. The guy led him into the office, and you can see my ex-wife in the meeting room, sitting with 5 other guy co-workers. They're laughing and drinking coffee. The guy led my PI inside so he could give my ex-wife the envelope. PI approached my ex-wife asking Mrs. Stone's fake name. She says yes. PI says, "You've been served," hands her the envelope and walks away. My ex-wife says, "Served what?" He's headed out, and you can hear my ex-wife saying, "What the F?" The envelope also had pictures of her and Shark along with paternity results. Before PI could even get back to the elevator, you could hear my ex-wife saying, "No, get your butt back here, you son of a bee." PI turns and says, "Ma'am, I'm only doing my job. Have a wonderful day." And he's waiting for the elevator to come. She's cursing him out. Are you freaking kidding? Around that time had to have been when she was blowing up my phone. When I failed to answer, the text messages started coming. "We need to talk. Tell me this is a joke. Why would you want to do this to your kids?" My lawyer knew Shark, the lawyer my ex-wife was having an affair with. He spilled the beans off record to my lawyer. Shark was a well-known lawyer in my city. I didn't know him, but other lawyers did, but seemed to get along quite well with my lawyer. According to my lawyer, he had a real deep conversation with him. This is not Shark's first time cheating on his wife. She has forgiven him before, but this time was a bit much for her. Months later, still during our divorce proceedings, Shark and the twins got DNA tested, and the boys were indeed his. My lawyer told me all of this. Shark's wife started proceeding to divorce him and take everything he has, as she was a stay-at-home mom their entire marriage. During my divorce, my ex-wife continued to beg me not to do this. I remained in no contact as my lawyer advised. When my lawyer told me that Shark was getting a divorce for his part, I truly assumed him and my ex-wife would be together. But apparently, Shark was too busy trying to do what he could to save his marriage. My ex-wife was fired from her job, not because of any infidelity she had with John, but she lost it one day and went off on a client on the phone. Apparently, it wasn't the first time it happened that month. I guess the stress of divorce was wearing on her, and she would snap at everyone, and her job performance was terrible. Though she was eventually replaced and fired, she cried in our small court hearing, saying how she has nothing now because she is getting fired and all of the stress of divorce. I found out the details of why she was fired exactly through one of her coworkers. They told me everything, and how John told some of them that she gave him chlamydia. I was asking the coworker to be honest with me. I wouldn't be upset. I asked her, "Did you and others know that my wife was cheating on me with John or anyone else?" Ex-wife's coworker said, "Yeah. Who doesn't have a work husband or wife these days? Usually, it doesn't go past the office, but sometimes it happens." Even though I immediately got ticked, I thanked her for her honesty. I will never marry again. I will never tell any man to get married. It's just not worth it, fellas. Just stay single. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you again. Take care.